going on?
Well, 1362 is a very interesting time, and exactly what they were doing on Gotland, we don't know for sure. There was a big battle there. I know that the Danish king was putting a lot of pressure on at that time. I know that the Hansa were very active in that region as well, and apparently there was a blockade of the Baltic in 1362 that was centered around trade, and that's a very active region there. You have many countries that are located along the Baltic, so strategically it was a very important region. And my understanding is that the Sinclair clan was actively working with the royalty in Scandinavia, trying to set up a Northern Commonwealth corporation or entity, if you will, that was going to establish trade routes in the northern regions towards the North Atlantic, and many people believe into Greenland and up North America, specifically furs and minerals and wood and fish. So there was some political things going on. There was a lot of war going on. It was a very complicated period, and I think that the whole nature of it lended itself to certain entities in the northern Atlantic region turning their attentions to North America as an economic base. And I think that's probably exactly what was going on. I believe that the Knights Templar, who certainly are associated historically, in my opinion, with the Sinclair clan and probably with Norse royalty, would have been the logical people to try to exploit that opportunity. They had the finest sailing fleet in the world. They were probably going over there. I'm absolutely certain they were coming over to North America probably for centuries before that. The fact that the Sinclairs were tied, had an umbilical cord-like connection to the Norse royalty. Certainly in their history, the Vikings and the Norse were coming over to North America. They certainly would have known about it. I mean, come on. So I think that there's a lot of information and things to be discovered pursuing this angle from a historical standpoint. And I wish historians would take this serious. It's a legitimate area of study, and they should pursue it.
It's interesting, through the DNA study that I run for the St. Clair family, we found direct blood connection to a family in Norway called the Lasna family, who, if you look at their history, were incredibly powerful during that time, the time period you're describing, even into the 1400s. The connections to the Knights Templar are more disputed. Typically, to join the Templars, I believe you had to give up land, and we owned quite a bit of it. I'm not sure we would have given it up, but associations with the Knights Templar are absolutely clear, including the supposed marriage to Hugh de Payen and stuff like that, so
right.
Of a female St. Clair, Catherine. So, yeah, it's all fitting. So let's talk about that evil word, the Templars, that we're not supposed to talk about in these conferences.
Well, that's funny that you mention that, because, I'm in many ways, and I'm sure people have brought up the point, well, you're a geologist, why are you studying history and why are you looking into runes and language and all this stuff? Well, there's a number of reasons why. First off, there were some people in archaeology and history and other disciplines that looked at my geologic work and just simply didn't accept it. And I asked them why, and they really don't have any good reasons other than they believed one thing for such a long time, and then we come along and we basically just say whatever you believed before was bunk. They just have a hard time accepting it. And this was puzzling to me. This was disappointing, and quite frankly, it made me angry that my geologic work, which my many colleagues in geology, everyone who's looked at it, has said, well, this is good work. And to be quite honest with you, the dating work we've done on the runestone was not that difficult. So it's not like we've, it's the first time it's ever been done, but it wasn't a big deal. And this was very puzzling, and it motivated me. So I started to look into the history, and it's not that tough to become a historian. All you have to do is have an interest and read and just learn. And so it's not that difficult. And one of the things
difficult to become an avocational historian. Now, the folks with the 7 years of study behind them might take issue with what you just said.
Well, I don't know. That's fine. They, I'm not trying to dismiss that. I'm not claiming to be an academic historian, but I certainly can understand history. And as time goes on, pretty soon I'll be able to say, well, I probably can now. I've spent 7 years intensely studying this. And I'm not trying to dismiss historians or diminish their accomplishments at all. I'm just saying that this isn't some sacred territory that only a chosen few can investigate.
True.
And that's all I'm trying to say. Anybody can do it if they want. And
even people like me.
Pardon me?
Even people like me.
Well, let's not get carried away, Rick.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We have a number of questions popping up in the chat room, and I think we probably ought to try to get to some of them because a couple of them are actually kind of complicated.
Okay, well, good enough. Let's do that.
Regarding the theory that the Newport Tower was used as a giant transit to project a ray to the location where the Kensington runestone was discovered 1,500 miles away, what is the angle of that alignment?
About 17 degrees.
What I thought. And what Steve answered, but
that's
I wanted to hear it from you.
west-northwest of due west. So,
and it is not dependent upon a celestial alignment for that. But
it's just a simple calculation. If you draw, and it's the way that I came up with that angle and that alignment was there are two very diagnostic and symbolic keystones, the only symbolic keystones in the Newport Tower, and they happen to be back-to-back on the inside and outside of the west-northwest archway. And they are very significant for a number of reasons, but it just occurred to me that if you you start at a point in the center of the tower and you extend a line through those keystones into space, going in the west-northwest direction, that angle is 17 degrees off of due west, and that line happens to go through Kensington, Minnesota. Now, that's a fact. Whether that was intended or not is speculation. However, based on my conclusion that the runestone is a land claim buried at the headwaters to two major and significant waterways that potentially could have been a land claim for close to half the continent, I believe that is a significant and very significant fact, and I believe that line is connected to that. That's my opinion, but it's a fact that it goes through Kensington.